The weather's pretty miserable outside, pretty cold, pretty damp, pretty horrible. So what we're going to do is we're going to make something to warm us up. We're going to make some soup. And this is probably one of my favourite soups that I've ever made, as broccoli and Stilton. Absolutely beautiful. It's dead simple to make. The one thing you don't need is a soup maker. Don't use a soup maker. All you need to do is you're going to want a food processor and a pot on the stove. Make it this way and it's going to taste fantastic. All we need is a few simple ingredients. So we've got a couple of ingredients down here. Okay, these are all you're going to need pretty much. You're going to want one brown onion. We've got some blue Stilton cheese, some spring onions, one nice head of broccoli. I've got some veg bouillon and a couple of sticks of celery. And this is pretty much all you're going to need for this soup, apart from some stock and a little bit of pepper for seasoning. So what we're going to do first of all is prep the veg. Okay, so broccoli first. Let's cut the stalk off it because we're going to use this first of all in our stock. And what we're going to do with this stalk, we're going to cut him in half, tidy him up, and just cut it into chunks. Then for the head of broccoli, just literally cut it down the centre. You can do it any way you want really, you don't have to be too fussy with it. Cut it again into quarters, take the centre stalk out, and that can be added to your other stalk, and literally break this into florets. So with our broccoli all chopped up and sectioned into stalk and head, what we're going to do next is we're going to cut up our onions, okay, and our celery. So we're chopping that into nice small pieces. So what you're going to need to do then is to get your blue cheese open. You're going to want about 140 grams of this stuff. You're going to want to crumble it all up. Okay, so all of our ingredients have been prepped up now. We've got our pot on the stove here. It's time to get this on and get those onions cooking. But before we do that, I'll quickly just run through what ingredients we have for making this beautiful broccoli and Stilton soup. And all that's left to do is to get our onions cooking. So let's get the heat under our pot. Okay, so get that onto a nice medium heat. What we're going to do is we're going to add our rapeseed oil into that pot and let that warm up slightly. Okay, so once our rapeseed oil is warm, we're going to pop in our chopped up onion. Give that a mix. And we're also going to pop in our spring onion. Give that a mix. Okay, so after about 5 minutes, these onions should be simmering away quite nicely and started to go a little bit translucent, so these are starting to cook. And what we're going to do at this stage is we're now going to add in our 25 grams or lump of butter into the pan. We're going to drop in our celery. There we are, drop all of that in. We'll give that a good mix around, so that butter's going to start melting. Turn the heat down a little bit. recover it, and let it cook there for about another 5 to 10 minutes, just so that celery starts to get nice and soft. Keep a little eye on it, make sure it doesn't start to burn. Give it a stir with your spoon. Okay, so while that's cooking away, what we're going to do is we're going to make up our vegetable stock. So for this stock, you're going to want some boiling water, so make sure your kettle's boiling. We're going to make up 1.2 litres or 1,200 millilitres of veg stock. So we've got ourselves a bowl, we've got some veg bouillon here, okay? You can use veg stock cubes if you like. I just choose to use this stuff because it just tastes nicer. Okay, 1 tablespoon, now a good heaped tablespoon, okay, of veg stock into that bowl. And then on top of that, you're going to want to make that up to 1.2 litres. Basically, now mix that up with a fork and set it aside, ready to go into, well, this is going to form the base of our broccoli and Stilton. Okay, so back at the pot, our celery and our onions have been cooking probably for about 5 minutes or so now, and they are smelling pretty decent. So we're going to get the lid off these, and basically we're going to add our stock and start cooking our broccoli. Yeah, look at that. That's lovely. Smells absolutely beautiful, and it's all gone nice and translucent now. So what we're going to need to do is we're going to get our stock that we made up earlier, and we're going to add this into the pot. I'm going to get the heat up on that now to get that simmering away. So while the temperature's coming up on that, remember our stalk of broccoli, okay? All the stalks from the broccoli are going to go into that pot now. So we're going to cook these for about 15-20 minutes or so that these become nice and cooked, nice and soft. So let's lob these bad boys in. Careful not to splash yourself in the process. Stir that up. Let's get the lid back on that now and leave that to cook for about 15-20 minutes. Okay, so our soup has been simmering here now for about 20 minutes, maybe a little bit longer actually. I've just checked the broccoli stalk, it's all nice and soft, knife will go through it quite easily. So now all we need to do, add our last 3 ingredients and get this soup all processed and ready to eat. First thing we're going to add is our broccoli florets, okay? So these are all chopped up quite roughly anyway. So let's get the lid off this pot and just crunch these bad boys up and get them in there. Give that a bit of a stir now. Get the heat up. And cook it for about another 10 minutes. So this has been cooking now for about another 10 minutes. The broccoli's nice and soft. Let's get our Stilton in there and let that melt. Wow, beautiful, beautiful smell coming out of that. This broccoli should start to fall apart now under the pressure of your spoon. Okay, so you should be able to cut it with your wooden spoon. Smells beautiful. Okay, pop your Stilton cheese straight into the pot. And what we're going to need to do is to let that melt. It should take about 5 minutes. And once that Stilton is all melted, all we need to do is season this with about 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. Okay, so what we're going to do at this stage now is we're going to get the heat off this and we're going to set this pot aside and let it cool down for about 20 minutes just before we blend it into a cream of broccoli and Stilton soup. Dead simple, dead quick. Okay, so at this stage our soup has been cooling down for about 20 minutes. It's kind of at room temperature now, maybe a little bit warmer. What we've got here is a blender or a food processor, okay? And we're going to process this soup in there. You can get this processor, if you don't have one. It's available in my shop on my website. And so, in fact, it's this pot that I've used to cook the soup in. This is a great cast iron pot, brilliant bit of kit. Use it for everything. Okay, so they're available if you need them. But what we're going to do now is we're going to get this soup processed in the food processor. And there we are. It's all blended up. It smells absolutely delicious. All we're going to do is decant this into a nice jug, ready to serve up with some lovely crusty bread. Delicious. So okay, our broccoli and Stilton soup is all ready for serving. Got a bowl and some crusty bread. Can't wait to taste this stuff.